Donald Trump speaking from Greensboro. So I say goodnight to you. Let's listen in.
He's got a lot more courage than all of us. He won 200 races. King Richard Petty. He's a great guy, I'll tell you. So I said, Richard, you want to speak? He said, no, I want to drive. He's not, you know, now with the politicians, they're all talk, no action, right? Richard Petty is the exact opposite of that. So, again, North Carolina, special place. And, you know, we went through a weekend, the likes of which we should never have to see again. And I wrote a few things down that I want to read because we can't let this happen anymore. We can't. We have to be so tough. We have to be so strong. We have to be so vigilant. We can't be led by weak, ineffective people. We can't. They're weak and they're ineffective. And believe me, Hillary Clinton, weak, ineffective. You listen to her. I don't know if you know. She has 550% more people she wants to come in than Obama from a certain area where we just don't know what's going on. We don't know who they are, where they're coming from. There's no documentation. And the governors, I just left some great governor, including, by the way, Pat, your governor, he's doing a fantastic job. But I just left a whole group of governors, and they say these people are being put in their communities. They don't even know who they are. They don't know where they're being put. They're like being snuck into certain communities, and government and governors don't even know who's coming into their community. What a mess we have. What a mess we have. And I just wrote some of this down, and well, we got to do it, because normally I talk about jobs, which nobody can compete with us on jobs. Believe me, we're going to bring them back from all these countries that have ripped us off like nobody's ever been ripped off before. We're going to bring our jobs back, and guess what? We're not going to let our companies leave anymore. There's going to be a little bit of a repercussion when they start to leave. There's going to be repercussions. But as we all know in Orlando over the weekend, a radical Islamic terrorist killed 49 people at least and wounded dozens more, dozens. It was the worst terrorist attack since September 11th and the worst mass shooting in our country's history. We want to live in a country where gay and lesbian Americans and all Americans are safe from radical Islam. Which, by the way, wants to murder and has murdered gays, and they enslave women. Now, Hillary Clinton talks about women, and she talks about how she's going to do. She plays the woman card more than any human being I've ever seen in my life. And frankly, I don't even think women like her from everything I see. And yet she's taking $25 million from certain countries, and much more than that when you add it up, that treat women horrendously, that kill gays. And you know what's going to happen, folks? And you know what we're going to do right now? Let's call for Hillary and Bill Clinton to give back the $25+ million to the countries that we're talking about. Right. So, the killer's parents immigrated from Afghanistan. As the Washington Times reported, the children of Muslim immigrant parents, they're responsible for a growing number, for whatever reason, a growing number of terrorist attacks. The killer's Afghan father supported the Taliban, which believes in violently oppressing women and gays. Violently. We're not talking anything else. We're talking violently. Once again, we've seen that political correctness is deadly. They don't want to talk about the problem. And I watched President Obama today, and he was more angry at me than he was at the shooter. And many people said that. One of the folks on television said, boy, has Trump gotten under his skin. But he was more angry, and a lot of people have said this, the level of anger, that's the kind of anger he should have for the shooter and these killers that shouldn't be here. Now there are reports that the wife knew about the attack. The second wife knew about the attack, but may have not told the authorities. Nobody really knows. Her family reportedly is from Afghanistan. According to Pew, it's a Pew report, 99% of the people in Afghanistan support oppressive Sharia law. Immigration from Afghanistan has increased fivefold. We don't know what we're doing, folks. Every year we bring in more than 100,000 lifetime immigrants from the Middle East and many more from Muslim countries outside of the Middle East. A number of these immigrants have hostile attitudes, and it doesn't take a big percentage. Look what one whack job, look at this one whack, this one horrible savage, look what he did in a short period of time to great young people. Look what he did, and look at the carnage and devastation and destroyed families that he's caused. So a number of these immigrants have hostile attitude toward women, toward gays, and people of different faiths. And that includes everybody. They're hostile. If you're not with them, it's like, forget it. Hillary Clinton's immigration plan would bring in millions of unvetted immigrants or very poorly vetted. And how can you vet somebody when you have no idea where they come from? You have no idea about the paperwork. Frankly, they have better passports than we do because they stole our passport machines. How that happened is pretty amazing. All right? Including those who hate gays, women, Jews, Christians, everybody. How does this kind of immigration make our life better in this country? How does it do it? So, we'll fix it. He just said fix it. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. Because you know the truth is, folks, we've had enough. We've had enough. We've all had enough. And you know what? With our weak leadership, it's going to get much worse before it gets better. You watch. Sadly, you watch. Since 9/11, the United States has admitted more than 500,000 immigrants from countries where being gay is punishable by death. Hillary Clinton, Crooked Hillary, as we all know her by, Crooked Hillary, which is what she is, wants to increase these immigration numbers very, very substantially. She's no friend of women, and she's no friend of LGBT Americans. No friend, believe me. And how can you be a friend when you take many, many millions, tens of millions of dollars, 25 million from one country, they think? And how can you be a friend when these countries are oppressive to LGBT when they're oppressive to everybody? How can you be a friend? How can you be a friend to women when you take that kind of money from people that enslave women? How can you be a friend? And then women like Hillary better than Donald Trump? I don't think so, I'll be honest. I don't think so. I really don't think so. So, you know, whoever really runs your country, whoever your leadership is, says so much about the character of your country. Now, Hillary Clinton also wants, and this is amazing, she wants, and everybody knows it, in fact, they fact-check it. I thought it was 500%, and this morning on television, they said Donald Trump is wrong. I said, oh, really? They said it's actually 550%. She wants a 550% increase in Syrian refugees coming into our country. Again, we don't know who they are. Where do they come from? This could be the all-time great version, modern day, of the Trojan horse, folks. Remember that, the Trojan horse. Hillary's plan for resettling hundreds of thousands of refugees will cost the United States hundreds of billions of dollars, which we don't have. We owe $19 trillion. We're going to $21 trillion. Now we're going to spend billions and billions of dollars in bringing in people that we don't know enough about. And what I want to do, let's get the Gulf states. We don't want to put up the money because we don't have any money. Our infrastructure's going to hell. Our country's going to hell. Our military is in such trouble. It's so unbelievably depleted. Our jet fighters are old. They need parts. They take them from plane graveyards and museums for our jet fighters. Terrible. So here's what we do. We've admitted 4 times more immigrants, remember this, than any other country in the world. We can't do this. We can't do this. Not surprisingly, wages for people working in our country, real wages, real numbers, haven't increased for 18 years. And then they wonder why I have packed houses all over the place. Hillary Clinton just yesterday used the term radical Islam, sort of used it, right? Did you see? And they all said, oh, Trump forced her. I shouldn't be forcing anything. If you don't know what the term is, and if you don't discuss what the problem is, and if you can't say the real name, we have a radical Islamic terrorism problem, folks. We can say we don't. We can pretend like Obama that we don't, where Obama spent a long time talking about it, and nobody at the end of that speech understood anything other than, boy, does he hate Donald Trump. That's about the only thing. So Hillary said, and this is an exact quote, and just so you understand, I have many Muslim friends. These are amazing people. They're great people. The problem we have is whether it's 7% or 9% or 11% or 1%. We're having a tremendous problem in our country. We don't know. There doesn't seem to be assimilation. We don't know what's going on. And there's no reporting. As an example, in San Bernardino, people saw this horrible married couple where they became radicalized. He probably became radicalized through her. But whatever happened, they had bombs on the floor. They had all sorts of weaponry. People knew that bad things were going to happen, and they didn't report. We have to have people report. And if we have reporting, and you go to your law enforcement, and by the way, our police in this country are so incredible, and we have to give them thanks. They're so incredible. I just met your chief backstage, the Greensboro chief, and I just met the sheriffs. Nobody's going to mess with those guys. They are great, great people, the police of our country. And they've been treated terribly. They've been treated terribly. So entire countries in the Middle East living under Islamic law, and they engaged in the worst kind of violent oppression. And now we have them coming into our country. So here's the story, folks. We have a woman, Hillary Clinton. She's got bad judgment. Bernie Sanders said she can't be president because she has bad judgment, right? Bad judgment. She doesn't have the temperament. You know, she'll sometimes say, I don't like Donald Trump's tone. She always reads off teleprompters. I don't like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. I don't like Donald Trump's tone. I don't like his temperament. Let me tell you, folks. I built a great company, unbelievable company. I filed the papers. They're unbelievable. These dishonest people in the back. In fact, we just took, they are so dishonest. They're so dishonest, we just took the press credentials away. I love it. We just took the press credentials away from the dishonest Washington Post. I said, you know, I said, why should I have people following me around, sitting up there like big shots, and they write very untruthful stories? They write very untruthful stories. So I did it with the Washington Post. I'm so happy. I don't know where they held. I said, you can come in. Where's the Washington Post? They're probably somewhere. Maybe they're in the back bleachers. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Now look, our federal authorities spend billions of dollars and deploy thousands of agents tracking and disrupting terrorist plots from people that are not really up to any good. We're going to stop it, folks. We're going to stop it. Just remember what I said. If I got elected, we're going to be fair. We're going to be straight. We're going to be we are going to be so straight down the middle in terms of justice, but we're not going to let people take advantage of us. We're going to go to the movie theater. We're going to go on airplanes. We're going to lead our lives like we're supposed to lead our lives. We're going to be straight down the middle. Everything's going to be fair. There's going to be total justice, but we can't continue to live this way. We can't continue to live this way. People are going to be afraid to go out. They already are. I mean, if you think you feel safer now than you did 8 years ago, I think there's probably not anybody in this room that feels that way. So I want to just read something. Did anyone ever hear me do the snake? The snake. I think maybe I've never seen a time, maybe ever, where this is so appropriate. I mean, it's so appropriate. Now, you have to think of this in terms of Islamic terror. You have to think of it in terms of our border. You have to think of it in terms of all the people that are crossing, that are criminals, that are killing people and hurting people. We need borders. If we don't have borders, we don't have a country. We need borders. We need to have our country back. We want to get our country back. And we want people coming into our country, but they have to come in legally. They have to come in legally. Don't even think about it. We're going to build that wall. Don't even think about it. And who is going to pay for the wall? Who? 100%, okay? 100%. You know, when I had the debates, the big debates, right? And what did I know about debating? I've been building and employing people and building up a great company and having lots of fun. I didn't want to do this, folks, I'll tell you. I don't know about you, but up here it's about 110 degrees right now. I didn't want to do this. I would have been very happy had Obama been a great president. I would have been very happy. You know what? If he were a great president, I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative. Had he been a great president, I would have been very happy, and most of the people in this room would have been happy. But you know what? He's been one hell of a lousy president. He's done a terrible job. Terrible job. He has done a terrible job. And we're running through weakness, and people are laughing at us. All over the world, they're laughing at us. And when China has a trade deficit we have with China, think of it, we have a trade deficit, $505 billion a year. Mexico, $58 billion a year. Japan, so much we don't even know what the hell the number is. Everybody. Vietnam is hot. They're all hot. Every country does great. When you negotiate against the United States, if you can't win, you don't have much going. You don't have much going. And we have to turn it around. We're going to get the greatest negotiators. We have in our country the greatest negotiators in the world. We're not going to make an Iran deal where we give $150 billion. We should have never given that money back. We should have never, ever given that money back. And those prisoners should have been released years ago before we ever started the negotiation, folks. Years ago. We should have gone in. Do you ever see a negotiation, by the way, take so long? Especially since we lost every single point. We never once walked. Every time I'd hear, I'd say, oh, great, Secretary Kerry's going to finally walk. He didn't walk. The only thing he did is go into a bicycle race at 73 years old and fall and break his leg, and then walk around. Never walked. But, you know, had he walked, we would have made a much better deal. Had he walked, had he known what he was doing. The Persians are great negotiators. The Iranians are great negotiators. Not only, by the way, did they make a great deal there, but as sure as you... And I was against the Iraq war from the beginning. You know, Hillary said, oh, can you trust him with the button? She's the one that wanted to go into Iraq. I've been against it. I said, Iraq, if you obliterate their military, you are going to totally destabilize the Middle East, and that's exactly what happened. The Middle East became totally destabilized, and what happened? We got ISIS out of the whole deal. I mean, the thinking that we've had for a long time. And then Obama, the way he got us out. Think of it. He gives a date. We're going to be out by X date. Who the hell would ever say the date? In fact, the other side didn't believe him because they said nobody could be so stupid as to give a date. And then it turned out to be true. So he got out the wrong way, came out the wrong way. If you remember, for years I've been saying, keep the oil. Shouldn't have been there, but keep the oil. Well, now ISIS has the oil. Iran is going to have the oil. They're all going to have the oil. And then instead of just a surgical strike in Syria and Libya and all these different places, I mean, look at Libya. A surgical strike, maybe. But the finest oil among the highest grades of oil in the world. Who has the oil, folks? ISIS has the oil. We don't even do anything to blockade them. They're selling the oil. They're making a fortune. They cannot believe how lucky they got. If I get elected, they're not going to be so lucky anymore, folks. They're not going to be so lucky. And when we got out, we should have taken, remember this, when we got out, we should have taken the oil. I'll never forget some of the pundits, most of them, they don't have the brains they were born with. They said, they're talking about a sovereign country, Iraq, crooked as hell. How about bringing baskets of money, millions and millions of dollars, and handing it out? I want to know, who are the soldiers that had that job? Because I think they're living very well right now, whoever they may be. But think of it, the money that went out, the money, we've spent probably $4 trillion over the last 15 years in the Middle East. We build a school, it gets blown up. We build it again and again and again. But if we want a school in Greensboro, if we want a school in Brooklyn, if we want a school in Los Angeles, we have no money. We're flat broke. No longer, folks, no longer. America first. America first. Remember that. It's America first. It's America first. We're no longer going to be the stupid people. And we're not the stupid people, but we're led by the stupid people, and that's going to end, folks. That's going to end. And you know, I'll tell you something. We will have a better relationship with Mexico and China and India and Japan and Vietnam and all of these countries that are taking advantage of us like we're a bunch of dummies. You know, we send in our political hacks to negotiate with the smartest people in those countries. And this is what the result is. That's what the result. We have the smartest, we have the greatest, we have the best negotiators in the world, and we're going to use them to make these massive deals, and we're going to bring our wealth back to our country, and we're going to save our Social Security and our Medicare, and we're going to save our jobs, and we're going to start making product again.